Yesterday, I filmed a reaction video to one of my first videos that I ever posted on YouTube. And it was a blast. It was a hysterical trip down memory lane. So if you missed that video, I'm going to link it right here for your viewing pleasure, and I highly suggest watching that video before continuing on with this one. So today I thought it would be fun to film this follow-up video from yesterday's video, recreating my makeup look using as many products as I have from that original video still existing in my makeup collection today. But if there are products that I've replaced or techniques that I've replaced, we can talk about that and why I changed the products and or techniques. So I actually thought it was really cool when I was pulling these products out to see how many products I actually still have and use in my collection. And therefore I thought it would be fun for you too. So let's put some makeup on this fuss and dive into the past. First product I used in that sweet little 2014 video was the MAC Strobe Cream. Now, I was using the original Strobe Cream. That was back before they actually expanded their shade range. And at the time, the original Strobe Cream would have then become the Pink Light Strobe Cream. I've since stopped using pink colored things, and I have moved on to the more gold phase in my life that happened many years ago. So these days I'm using Goldlite, and I actually haven't used Strobe Cream in quite some time. It's a product I always have in my collection. It's been a favorite since my days of working at MAC, which again, from what I gathered, was during the time of that video. I must have just started working there. I must have. Because I didn't really have many MAC products until I started working there and was learning all about it. Oh, the smell even takes me back. It's such a nostalgic product. Wow, honestly, like, I forgot how nice that felt on the skin. It is such a glorious product, and really, this got me through all of my Calgary weather days. This is kind of one of my only hydrating bases that I ever used, and since then, like, honestly, my primer drawer is getting out of hand and ridiculous. In this moment, I have forgotten how nice the Strobe Cream actually feels. It feels so great. Wow. I need to pick it up more. My skin just really responds well to it, and I think because I've been using it for so many years, it's just like, hello, old friend. Now, the base product I used in that video was the NARS Radiant Tinted Moisturizer, which I thought was so interesting. I feel like my timeline of my life is so skewed in my head, like my memories of what I think and the actual timeline of what it is don't always line up. Like, I just didn't realize that I'd used this tinted moisturizer since the beginning of my YouTube days. I find that so fascinating. But if you guys watched my full face of NARS video, you'll know that I just recently grabbed this one to try for that one. It is a little bit deeper. This is St. Moritz. I thought it was so interesting in that video how I applied the tinted moisturizer with a brush, because I thought that I was so much more of a hands application gal. Even back then, I just had totally forgotten about that Sigma Kabuki brush. Man, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, wow, what a trip down memory lane. Tinted moisturizers and lighter coverage foundations, not that I don't apply it with brush. I use a brush a lot of the time, my MAC 170 brush. Such a constant in my daily routine. But I also love the feeling of applying lighter bases, just blended in with my skin. I feel like it just really helps you to warm it up and melt it into the skin, you know? So this next product is actually quite funny because I actually picked them up a little while ago before I had even planned on doing this video, before I'd even gone back and watched this old video. Someone was using these on Instagram stories. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, damn, those look so good. I haven't used them in years. I don't remember if I like them or not. And MAC has so many good products that I just sometimes forget about. And I thought I would pick them up again just to give them a try. And lo and behold, it was perfect because this is one of the products I used in that old video. And it's the PREP.PRIME highlighters. They're like concealers. I would consider them an equivalent to the YSL Touche Éclat. They have a little bit of coverage, but they're mainly meant to be like a highlighting, color correcting product. And in that old video of mine, I was using the pink one. As I mentioned in that video and in now, I used to use all of these pink products, and in that video I put this pink product all over my very red and already pink face, and I would just not do the same thing today. I would definitely stick to the more peachy and yellow tones that goes with my skin a little bit more. The only place that I might use something a little bit more pink And even then it would be peachy, but whatever, it would be under the eyes. Like I would only use that product under the eyes nowadays. So I thought it'd be fun to use these. It's an excuse to pull them back out again. I got the shades Light Boost and Bright Forecast. Light Boost is a little bit lighter, almost white really, but from what I remember, they're quite sheer, so I feel like I can get away with using that, but I did just want to mix a little bit of Bright Forecast in to deepen it up. I'm still gonna go in with concealer over top like I did in the video just to see. But yeah, I just definitely wouldn't go for a pink. And I certainly wouldn't apply it all over my face. By the end of that video, you can just see such a discrepancy between my face and my neck. My neck just had that yellow hue to it, and then my face just was glowing pink because I put that product everywhere. I thought that was so funny. So you live and you learn. I'm gonna take my MAC 170 brush and just blend these into the skin. It's been so long. Do I look brighter? I'm gonna blend most of it out with the brush here, and then I'll just go in with my finger to get right up into the depth of my under eye. Wow. It sometimes makes me a little bit sad that MAC isn't as popular as it once was. I know back in those YouTube days, like MAC was just the company that had everything you could possibly imagine. I feel like they were just the pioneers for so many products that brands would later duplicate. And I mean, obviously we didn't have as many brands available to us even all of those years ago. And since then, just so many more brands have come out onto the market and just given us updated versions of what MAC kind of already had, but we just love new shiny things, so we forget about the fact that MAC, for the most part, already had so many of the products that we use in our daily makeup routines today, like this beautiful highlighting concealing product. Like doing this, I wouldn't even go in with more concealer unless I had like a specific breakout to cover. This is stunning. That has settled into my under eye area so nice, and I feel like it's really actually brightened up that spot. I am so excited to have these back in my day. Wow. Just to follow suit with the video, I did pull out my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers because obviously you guys know I still use this product. It's still a concealer I always have in my makeup collection. Nothing has changed there. So I'll just take a little bit of this and I'll just go over these little spots right here just to extra conceal these little zits. In the video, I went straight into blush and I was using Bobbi Brown Apricot. Do you say apricot or apricot? Tomato. And I kind of felt sad looking at that blush because I definitely don't have it in my collection. I don't know what's happening with Bobbi Brown right now, but so many of their products are like completely out of stock or really slimming down on the Sephora website. I need to dig deeper and see what's happening. But the Bobbi Brown blush I do have is pale pink, and I know that I also had this blush at that time. Obviously, much has changed since that time. I was a very pale, creamy, milky little gal. And I hadn't quite discovered my love for warm tones and bronzer yet at that point, so I just went in with blush first. And obviously that's not the way that I do things these days. I would start with my matte bronzer or a contouring product. So I'm going to dip into the Benefit Hoola bronzer and just use this to map out the chiseled area. I will do less bronzer today though, just to follow the spirit of the old land. And it's so funny hearing me talk about the Body Shop honey bronzer. That was all the rage on YouTube back then, if anyone remembers those days. And I honestly don't recall when it was, but all I know is that I stopped using the honey bronzer when I started using a deeper shade of bronzer. Like that bronzer, I feel like I had 01. It was very pale. It was very pale indeed. And honestly, I really liked it. I thought the formula was great. The packaging was really nice. There's nothing wrong with it. I just honestly haven't used a Body Shop makeup product in so long. I don't even know if it exists anymore. But there are definitely many bronzers that I've used and loved since that have replaced it and are most likely not as light as that old bronzer once was. I also didn't do any nose action in that old vid. Sorry, I just scratched my nose so hard there. Now it's gonna be red. Awesome. I'm still trying to incorporate that little Victoria Beckham V moment. I'm just taking my bronzer or whatever contour I'm using and going around the little button area of my nose. Thanks, VB. For highlighter in that video, I used MAC Soft and Gentle, which honestly I did used to love so much and I loved for such a long time, but I think that since I've been using Whisper of Gilt, I wouldn't even consider looking back at Soft and Gentle because this formula, the In Extreme Dimension finish, is so much softer and creamier. When I used other highlighters other than Soft and Gentle, going back to Soft and Gentle afterwards, it felt quite gritty. Like I never noticed it before and the times when I used it and loved it. It was a beautiful highlight, but in comparison to this, for example, it seemed much more chunky than this formula. So I've definitely moved on from the Soft and Gentle days to bigger and brighter things, but Whisper of Gilt is the bae. So now is when I would go in with blush. I also have the Bobbi Brown blush brush, which I've had for many, many years, and it's held up very well. It does shed on me every single time I use it, and it makes me crazy. But it is so soft. It's so soft and pillowy, and it's just one of my longtime brush loves. You know, I can't pass her up for new things. I love this blush color really so much. It's one of those shades of blushes that I could just bask in till the end of my days. So that's the base. Not bad, guys, not bad. There's still a lot of products here that I have used and loved since then, which is awesome and a true testament to the wonders of those products. Now, what I thought was so funny here is I talked about setting my makeup in before doing mascara, and I was just howling because I don't know, when I stopped doing that, I don't know how I could have forgotten that I used to do that as a tip. I was so sure of myself being like, yeah, why would I spray setting spray on after? I'm just going to blink and mascara is going to get all over the place. And I'm like, I literally just filmed a video not that long ago talking about how brilliant of a tip was, and I couldn't believe I'd never done it. Listen, there's been a lot of videos here on YouTube over the years. My brain is not keeping up. So I thought that was so funny. And in true fashion, I'm going to do what I did then and use a setting spray. In that video, I used the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray, which I haven't used in a really, really long time. But recently, if you watch my new makeup video, you would have seen this. This is the Hourglass Veil Soft Focus Setting Spray. So I'm going to use that to set in the base now that we're done. And I'm going to be testing this out for a little while. So far, I really like it. I'm not really doing anything crazy during this whole, COVID time, but I'll keep you posted. So now for the brows. That was so funny seeing my old mystery eyeshadow back in action, and I've mentioned this a lot before whenever I've talked about my brows, but I used to just take that mystery eyeshadow and I would just fill in my brows, and that was before I learned my little eyeshadow brush trick for the brows. So what I would have loved to do just through the screen going back then to old Lan is just taking a little brush and just blending out this innermost area of my brow and making it look less like a rectangular block. A long time ago, I switched away from using eyeshadow. Obviously, mystery eyeshadow was just a little bit too cool tone, too much of a deep ashy brown for my natural hair color, and I've gone for lighter things. I also really just prefer applying my brow products in pencil form, and even more recently I've been trying to master the Anastasia Dip Brow, which has been proving to be quite difficult for me. The beauty about how I apply my brows is that it's fast and I don't have to think about it. Using the Dip Brow is hard. It takes a lot of time and you have to be so precise, and if you press a little bit too hard, you just get a brown splotch on your eyebrow. So for time's sake, I'm going to use my Dior Brow Styler today. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I did in that old video. And I'm going to draw my block eyebrows. So this is how I would draw on my eyebrows. I would make that very distinct rectangle in the center and I would just leave it here. And that would be my brow. Now we've learned, we are a more learned being, and I take a little eyeshadow brush and I just fluff that in the center of the brow, and it just softens it and takes away any of that excess product, leaves more of the natural hair look behind, and just gives the brow a more lived-in feel versus just a smudged on brick. So thank God for that tip. And that was actually a tip from my old manager, Sarah, when I worked at MAC. She taught me that. So it wasn't too long after that video that I learned that tip, thank goodness. And then when it comes to setting in the brows, it was so funny seeing the old clear mascara from Maybelline, the Great Lash Mascara. Obviously, there are many, many brow setting gels and what have you that I've used since, and that is because the clear mascara was not effective. My brows would sag immediately after, and I think a lot of brow gels do that in general. The most success I've found when it comes to setting in my brow hairs has been soap brows. Literally using soap. And I discovered it in 2019. Haven't looked back since. And it's the only thing that really keeps my long, annoying, unruly brow hairs tamed. So no more clear mascara for me. We have upgraded our brows. Ta-da! Now when it comes to the eyeshadow, not much has changed in the application of my eyeshadow. I've definitely become more of a warm-toned lover since those days, and seeing that old Too Faced Natural Eyes palette was very nostalgic. I used to love those eyeshadow palettes. I really don't know why they get rid of such a good thing. I feel like Too Faced since then has become quite gimmicky in terms of their eyeshadow palettes. I can't remember the last eyeshadow palette I've seen from them that I was like, yeah, I want that. And even the palettes that are available now are so different from the palettes that were available then. So I think the closest to that Too Faced Natural Eyes would be my Marc Jacobs Glambition. Hello, sweet angel. I'm gonna dip into this shade here, and I'll just do a little quick moment like I did then. You know, I actually thought that my lower lash line shadow application was a later thing. I was really pleasantly surprised to see that I've been doing it for that long. I feel like I gave it up for quite some time. You go through phases with your makeup. You switch it up every now and again. But in that old video, I was like, yeah, put it on your lower lash line, give it a more smoky effect. And I think that then I thought that it was giving you a more smoky effect, but nowadays applying the shadow on my lower lash line just makes my eye look feel complete. Not even necessarily more smoky. It just feels more done when I do this under my eyes. I'm going to take the same brush and just do a little mix of these two shimmer shades. And like in that video, I'm just going to put a nice wash of this all over the lid for a little hello. And then I'm just going to dip a little brush into these two brown shades and just do a little bit of love along the lash line, which has definitely become my signature go-to makeup look. For so long, I've loved to do this little faux liner, as I call it. This is actually really funny because when I worked at MAC in that time, people would always come in and it was just like the time in the world where every single person wanted to know how to do a winged liner, and I just wasn't the gal to do it. I still can't do a winged liner to this day. I struggled doing it on myself so badly, let alone doing it on another human. And that time at MAC was when I learned how to do this shadow faux liner. And I used to do it a lot with like MAC Teddy or coffee eye pencil, just like smudging out the eye pencil, like I still do to this day. And it's so funny because people would come in and they'd be like, I want to know how to do a winged liner, teach me how to do a winged liner. And I'd be like, let me show you how to do something better. And I would just completely talk people out of doing a winged liner. And if they really insisted on it, I'd have to pass them off to someone else because I was unable to do it. So know that whenever I do this with eyeshadow, it comes from many years in my history of refusal to do your classic winged liner. One thing that I definitely haven't done in a long time is using a shimmery rose gold L'Oreal Silkissime liner in my waterline. That was such a throwback seeing that product. I definitely haven't done that in many a year, and I, if anything, would go for a nude colored, cream colored shade in my waterline just to help brighten up the area. Again, with the whole adding the pink thing. I don't know why I was so hell-bent on making all of my pink areas worse. I already have such red, sensitive eyes. Why would I be emphasizing any pink hue? And putting a shade like this just definitely helps to brighten and make your eyes look more awake. It was so funny seeing that old rose gold liner. It's been a hot minute since she was in my life. For mascara, I use the MAC in Extreme Dimension Mascara, which is still a mascara that I have used and loved today. It was actually in my MAC kit, and it's fabulous. I am just currently in the middle of testing the new Marc Jacobs mascara, so this is the one I'm going to use today. This is the Lash'd mascara. But you guys know that in recent months, my loyalty has been with the Tom Ford mascara, so that's the mascara I'm loving and rocking these days. I've got to say though, guys, There might be a new kid in town with this Marc Jacobs at Lash'd mascara. It's pretty poppin'! Ooh, it's starting to get humid in Toronto. My hair is going crazy. Now the final step, the lips. First of all, it's always so funny looking back at what my lips looked like before I ever got them done. I've been getting my lips done for many years now, and I always just, not that I don't recognize myself, I feel like my face is obviously very much more or less exactly the same as it was then, but I find it so fascinating at how different it can make your overall look. I just have a really big head, and I just find that these match the sides of my head so much more than what was given to me from the womb, and I just love looking back at what my lips used to look like. It gives me such a giggle. I also never used to wear lip liner. Lip liner was something I got into much later in my adult life, and I'm so glad I did. So in the video I went straight into the lipstick, Bobbi Brown Sandwash Pink. I love that lip color so much, but even watching back, it's definitely an odd color pink. Looking at it, I can see why I would have liked it then, but it's not a shade of pink that I would go for these days, and especially not with a colored blush like Bobbi Brown Apricot. That was such a bright, vibrant, warm blush color. And if I were wearing that blush today, I'd probably try and find something equivalent in a lip shade. I like to match my blush and lip. Like if I'm wearing a nude lip, I'll probably be wearing a nude blush. If I'm wearing a bright pink blush, I'm probably gonna go for a bright pink lip. That's just how I like to pair my blush and lip combos. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna put on my lip liner, the Victoria Beckham lip definer in shade number 2. And I just like to outline my lips, give them a little bit of shape back. And depending on how I'm feeling, I'll either sharpen the look of my Cupid's bow or I'll round it out. Sometimes I overdraw my lips, sometimes I just do as is. It's whatever I'm feeling that day. But I definitely think I take a different approach with lips and how they match with my blush these days. I pay more attention to that, that's for sure. RMS Sublime, baby. My go-to cool pink. She's a beaut. I just like to dab this on. I feel like this and the Bobbi Brown Pale Pink, they go so well together. It just looks complete when all the shades are kind of in harmony, you know what I mean? Oh, I love this lip color. Bury me with this lip color. And you guys, this is the finished look. This is my updated makeup look from that video that I filmed in 2014. So many of the products still exist in my makeup collection today. I still use and love so many of them. And those are a few little things that I would change, a few techniques that have been upgraded over the years. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little 2-video moment of taking a trip down memory lane with me and seeing how times have changed. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow for a new one. Bye!